story with him?
This is Robert Dale Shepard, and he escaped from here using this. I mean, he literally flossed his way to freedom. So with that said, welcome to the first volume of Oral Oddities, which is going to be a bit of a masterclass in flossing, advanced flossing technique. And I'm Dr. Jamie. I'm going to tell you the story of how Robert Dale Shepard escaped from prison. Now listen, I've scoured the internet and compiled all the information I could find on this, and I couldn't find much, I'll be honest. Just 3 news articles and a very dated episode from a TV series called Real Prison Breaks, which is actually pretty good, and it's narrated by, well, none other than... So yeah, I'm joined by Boromir, and, you know, I thought we could tell the story together.
We are here on common purpose, friend.
Brilliant. Okay, so first of all, it is worth clarifying that this is a true story. You know, unlike most of the other prison break stories that come to my mind at least, you know, like Andy Dufresne breaking out of Shawshank, or The Count of Monte Cristo.
By Alexandre Dumas.
They're great stories, great fictional stories. This, however, is a real event that even made international headlines back in the 90s when it happened.
33-year-old Robert Shepard escaped from the South Central Regional Jail just after midnight. Authorities say his method of escape, a homemade rope made out of dental floss.
Let's take a closer look at the prison he escaped from. This is the South Central Regional Jail in Charleston, West Virginia. Robert Dale Shepard escaped from one of these 6 spaces. So let's zoom in and have a closer look. Yeah, these seemingly open areas, they're recreational yards, which are penned in on top with chain link fencing. And as you can see, many of the walls are actually the outer walls of the prison. And hey, look at that. You see these little specks of orange right here? Those are actual inmates. I'm fairly sure that is a gaggle of murderers in orange jumpsuits. Must be. There's even a creepy one alone in the corner. Anywho, Robert's story of escape starts with him planning, you know, his scheming stage, where he realised that he needed to be all alone in one of these recreational yards so he could A, figure out how to escape, and then B, actually escape. So he needed to get put into solitary confinement, because that way you get to use the recreational yard after hours or by your onesies. You know, you get privacy. So what did he do? Well, he planned an attack on another inmate. Boromir?
And without a second thought, Shepard stabs his fellow prisoner. It's just a flesh wound, but it's enough to get Shepard thrown exactly where he wants to be, in solitary confinement.
And while in solitary, Robert got 1 hour every evening in the recreational yard. So let's take a closer look at the rec yard. 5-metre high cinder block walls.
Its black gates are guarded by more than just orcs.
Yeah, that's terrifying. And also, the roof, as I mentioned before, is penned in with chain link fencing, and there's a security camera. Eyes in the sky.
The great eye is ever watchful. It is a barren wasteland, riddled with fire and ash and dust. The very air you breathe is a poisonous fume.
Yeah, that's bleak. But luckily though, for old Robert, there was a blind spot where the camera couldn't see you. So the plan was simple enough. Stand in the blind spot, climb up to the fencing using a makeshift rope, and cut your way out. But to do this though, he needed 3 items. 1 AA battery, a small piece of a hacksaw blade, and floss. Lots and lots of dental floss. So once he got out of solitary confinement, He got hold of the AA battery from a Walkman. He bought 2 packs of floss from the prison commissary and traded cigarettes with the other inmates so that he could get his hands on even more dental floss.
Yes.
In total, he had 7 packets of mint-flavoured wax dental floss that he used to braid into a rope that would be strong enough to carry his own weight. And as for the hacksaw blade...
Shepard bribes a prison trustee and gets a 10cm hacksaw blade to cut through the chain-link roof.
Now that Shepard had all the things he needed to escape, he braided the dental floss into rope and attached the AA battery to one end so that he could use it like a grappling hook. He also needed to get sent back to solitary confinement. Easy.
Scoop! Okay.
Now think about it for a second. He must have smuggled all those things, rope, battery, blade, into his cell, presumably using a very simple reverse inhale.
That with a simultaneous relaxing of the sphincter.
Okay.
Ah, and here's the footage of the rope. Yes, notice it being handled without any gloves. That's a nasty surprise later on, isn't it? When you find out. So picture Robert. It's after hours. He's alone in the rec yard. He's in the blind spot. No guards are watching him. He's now got to try his hardest to attach the rope to the fencing on the roof. So he needs the perfect throw, basically. Now, apparently, 2 days before he escaped, he actually managed to attach the rope to the fence, but wasn't able to detach it in time. In fact, one of the news articles quotes him from an interview. Shepard said, "I couldn't get enough rope and it was left dangling and they found it," he said in a questionable American accent on Friday. "I figured they must know what's going on." But nothing happened. The guards found the rope and they did nothing. And there's a glaring discrepancy in the story, I think. If he left one rope hanging, which was found by the guards, and then escaped 2 days later, then he must have had enough floss for 2 ropes. So he must have had a butt ton of floss with him. Literally. So on June the 29th, 1994, he escaped. And it just took him 20 minutes. He makes the perfect throw, successfully attaching the rope to the fencing. He then scales the floss to the top of the roof. His hand's cut badly, but clean, incredibly clean, plaqueless. He then uses the hacksaw blade to cut through the fencing. And the rest, my friend, is history. Thank you so much for watching. And if you want to know more about what happened to Shepard after his escape, then do check out the TV series with Boromir. I've linked to it downstairs in the description, so check that out. But I can finish by saying this. Think twice before committing a crime in West Virginia, because after Shepard escaped, the prison stopped selling dental floss to prison inmates.